Fantasy Bout Hour merch is available when you click the link in the description. Right now, t-shirts are available with this logo on it, but more products are to come. Please get your merch today. Hello, boxing family, and welcome to another prediction video. The fight that I'm covering in this video was requested by Bo Yerks. It's a good one at heavyweight, and the fight that he requested was Lennox Lewis versus Big George Foreman. But before we get into the prediction, please share, like, hit the bell notification, and if you're watching, you might as well subscribe. So Big George Foreman versus Lennox Lewis. Let's get into it right now. First off, both of these guys were two powerhouse heavyweights that made their mark on the sport. This would be an explosive fight between two big guys. It would be a jabbing contest in the beginning. And of course, when we're talking about George Foreman, you have to think about young George Foreman versus older George Foreman. And I personally feel like George Foreman was better in his older years, in his second career. But young George Foreman was dangerous. Make no mistake about it. But when I think about this fight, I'm thinking about old George Foreman because he was at his best. And at this point in his career, he developed a serious jab, and he was more defensive minded. And Big George was great at parrying punches from the cross-arm defense. George Foreman had a great chin. He was hard to hurt, and it was hard to get his respect. He was always coming forward. He didn't seem to be worried about getting hurt. He didn't seem to be too concerned about the punches, or at least that's the way it appeared to be. He had a great poker face. Lennox Lewis, in my opinion, he's the best jabber in the history of the sport. It's debatable, and I can see the Larry Holmes people in my comment section already, which is fine. It's debatable, but that's just my opinion. Lennox Lewis did so much with the jab. He could throw the jab up. He could throw the jab down. He could double the jab, triple the jab, even quadruple the jab. I mean, he was just plain abusive with that jab. And it was hard to get past that jab. And so, as I said before, this will be a jabbing contest. George Foreman would definitely jab with Lennox Lewis. But there is just so much power between these guys. And one punch could change the fight in dramatic fashion. And so neither one of these guys can really afford to make a mistake. The advantage is for George. I think he's stronger than Lewis, has more power, definitely has a better chin than Lewis, more durable, willing to take more risk, and would fight with more heart. The only disadvantage I see for Big George is he can be outpointed in big fights, and he could easily lose a points decision in this fight against Lewis. As far as Lewis is concerned, I think Lewis has a better jab. I think he has a better punch selection, better footwork, more speed, and straighter punches. But one thing that both Lewis and Foreman have in common is they are both great 1-2 combination punchers. So that's definitely something to look for from both fighters. So with all that being said, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Who takes this? Who can impose their game plan? Who can impose their wills? I'm sort of leaning towards Lennox Lewis because when Lennox Lewis is on his game, he is on it. When he comes focused, when he comes in shape, I mean, he's an extremely dangerous fighter. Now, Big George Foreman is not the type of fighter that's going to be intimidated by Lewis at all. He's not going to be afraid, and Lewis will not knock out Big George. It's just not going to happen. But as the fight gets in the later rounds, he will start to pull away on points. He will start to land that jab with frequency. And now it's not gonna be anything that Big George is really concerned about because he's Big George, but landed punches equals points. So he's gonna start scoring with that jab. He's going to throw an occasional 1-2 combination that lands. And so while Big George puts the pressure on Lewis, he's going to test Lewis in this fight. Lewis will be tested, and Lewis will know that he's been in a fight. But I just feel that Lennox Lewis is the more polished fighter. I feel that Lennox Lewis has the better skills, and I feel that Lennox Lewis will take this by majority decision. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you think. I'll see you next time.